Absolutely massive news broke in the Dungeon World 2 space like 2 weeks ago, and it is coming to fruition today. I know, that sounds really cryptic. Also, why am I in a suit? Well, this is my newscaster suit. I'm breaking some news. Technically, this news came out like 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to finish my Nimble video, and I wanted to time the release of this video with what is happening with Dungeon World 2's alpha. In case you're not in the loop, Dungeon World, the game I talk about the most on this channel, is getting a sequel. The news was announced last year, and then earlier this year, the developers started releasing some previews of what to expect, and the feedback wasn't great, and I was one of the people who was critical. You see, all the information that they released about Dungeon World 2 indicated that it was going to be extremely different from Dungeon World 1. Now, I made a whole video on that, so I'm not going to rehash everything, but just so you know, there was definitely a schism. A lot of people in the Dungeon World community were mad because Dungeon World 2 was looking like it was going to deviate significantly from Dungeon World 1. Whereas Dungeon World 1 serves as like powered by the apocalypse D&D, Dungeon World 2 looked like an entirely different game altogether. About a month ago, the developers Helena Real and Spencer Moore released the Dungeon World 2 alpha. Now, I will admit, I haven't personally read the Dungeon World 2 alpha yet. From what I saw in all of the pre-release blog posts, it looked like it was deviating far too much. It didn't really strike my interest. However, the absolutely insane news that I bring to you today is that they are releasing a new version of the alpha. A version of the alpha that is drastically different from the first version. The new version of the Dungeon World 2 alpha is being called Dungeon World 2 Red. This is short for the redungeoning. Helena and Spencer say that this isn't like an evolution of the alpha, but rather to show the other extreme of their design ideas. Hello, Editor Austin here. I actually reached out to Helena a couple of days ago with various questions about this new Alpha Red because I wanted to be a journalist. She's super busy and responded after I finished making most of this video, so rather than completely redo the entire video, I'm just going to post the link in the description below, and I'll also film a video of me just reading out basically the whole interview and post it on my second channel in case you prefer to just, have stuff on in the background and listen to it while you're doing whatever. Back to me. See, the big thing about the first version of the alpha and what got so many people mad is that they were getting rid of all of the D&D aesthetics and terms and everything that sort of connected Dungeon World to Dungeons and Dragons. Now, personally, I think this was a huge misstep because my idea of Dungeon World is that it is fantasy Dungeons and Dragons. There are other fantasy powered by the apocalypse games that do other things. Dungeon World's lane, if you will, is sort of bridging the gap between like D&D 5th edition and powered by the apocalypse gameplay. What this new Dungeon World 2 Alpha Red is doing is bringing Dungeon World 2 back to that original idea of Dungeon World being like a bridge. I feel like I said Dungeon World a lot. I'll just read off the biggest changes from the blog post that Helena and Spencer released last week. While we're keeping a refined version of conditions, hit points are returning with some rules that tie HP loss directly into the narrative. The 6 D&D stats are all coming back. Defy Danger returns with several modifications, the biggest one of which is that you always roll Constitution instead of choosing your stat. Many moves and mechanics have been refined, both in general and to account to the focus of this version. Now, when I read this, I was absolutely ecstatic. Like I said in my previous video, and like I said in this video, I think the biggest problem with Dungeon World 2 is that it is straying way too much from the original Dungeon World formula. It doesn't read like Dungeon World, it reads like fantasy powered by the apocalypse, of which there are many other fantasy powered by the apocalypse games. But what I found really interesting is that I took to the Dungeon World Discord the day that the announcement was made, and there were a lot of people that were actually really sad by the changes, saying that this represents sort of a clash of what the true identity of Dungeon World is. Is it sort of your heroic fantasy PBTA game, or is it meant to be Dungeons and Dragons but powered by the apocalypse? I would love to hear what you think about that. And that's I really genuinely want to know. To be fair, I think if you're still in the Dungeon World 2 discussion forums, you're probably all aboard what they're calling Dungeon World 2 Blue, which is the radical change. I think anyone who didn't like the change, such as myself, has moved on from the system, because that's basically what happened to me. Anyway, the new Dungeon World 2 Alpha Red rules will be dropping literally, they drop today. They'll be in the doobly-doo. I timed this video to drop when they do, and you can check it out. What I think is really cool is they're also leaving the old rules up, Dungeon World 2 Alpha Blue, and you can compare and contrast and see which one you like more. I'm super curious to know what you think about this sort of schism in Dungeon World. I don't think they're going to develop two different systems, so that would be kind of cool. So I'm also curious as to what the final product's going to look like. And if you have no idea what's going on and like you want to know more about why I didn't like Dungeon World 2's new direction, you should click right here. I made a video on it. And thank you so much for watching.